Caitlin Clark.
Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. She's back. Fever announced that Caitlin Clark is back. Yesterday, I did a video in which I talked about the imminent return of Caitlin Clark and how it changes everything. And so many of the comments, the ones I got to see, a lot of them were like, we needed this, we needed that fix because we miss Caitlin Clark and all that. And so here we are. In the video, I had the little sound bite from the announcer during the game against New York, in which he said,
"Welcome back, Caitlin Clark."
And I said, I cannot wait to hear that. Well, only got to wait a little while longer because on Saturday, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever will face the undefeated New York Liberty. So let's go over to X and take a look at some of what the Fever decided to show us. I am sure they are extremely excited because they let us know she's back. And there it is. She's back. Caitlin Clark is ready to play tomorrow against New York. And yeah, she's like, I'm ready. Let's go. And they are gracious enough to share with us just a little bit of footage. Caitlin Clark is like a kid on Christmas, or at least a kid in a candy store right here. That leg's looking pretty good. That quad's looking pretty good. Back it up. Look at that. Oh, that quad says I'm ready. I'm ready. That face. That's what I mean when I said a kid. Look at that. The kid at Christmas. The kid that got the gift they've been asking for. The kid that got the red bicycle. Somebody tell them they're going to have to wait till the snow melts before they can play. But not Caitlin. She's ready to play Saturday against the New York Liberty. I'll finish this, but I just had to see that look on her face. It feels good when you're doing what you love to do. And the Fever posted CC locked in. Caitlin Clark wins the half-court shot contest after practice today. Let's look. Like I said, a kid on Christmas or set free in the candy department of, I don't know, pick a store. She's glad to be back. There it is again. She's back. So here we go. New York on Saturday. Now, I'm sure that this team will be wise in the minutes they allot her as she works her way back into game situations as much as you can practice, as we were talking about in the members only live last night. Game situations are different. You can do your best to simulate game situation, but it's just different when you get out there. So I'm just going to reflect, and I'll just leave it for you to make of it what you will. Let's talk a little bit about the timeline of the whole thing and the various things that happened in between. So the Indiana Fever starts the season facing pretty much what they felt last season, and that is the officials don't want to do what the officials should be doing, or certainly not doing it as well as they should be doing. Got players complaining a little bit, even got coaches complaining a little bit. And I mean, I'm talking about Indiana Fever folks. And so we've got some fines that have been assessed, and yet we see it happen again and again. Well, then the Indiana Fever played the New York Liberty, the defending champions. Should have won the game, but it was a close one. And when it's in the hands of the officials doing the right thing, if you're wearing an Indiana Fever jersey, can't really count on it working out in your favor. And such was the case here. So now I just want to talk a little bit about the timeline of what has happened, because the timing is very interesting to me, and some of what has happened in the midst of the timing, in the midst of the bookends. Caitlin Clark exiting with an injury, Caitlin Clark's imminent return. You can make of it what you will. I'm just going to review. Okay. The Indiana Fever picked up this year where they left off last year. And I mean, in terms of the officiating, still not getting a fair whistle. There are people like players and coach who had a fine because of speaking out. But speaking out you must, because the officiating, to quote Stephanie White, has been egregious. Okay? Absolutely egregious. Caitlin Clark is the franchise player and also the face of the league, the generational talent, and yet she's not given the benefit of the proper calls. Frustrating. So she goes into the New York Liberty game. New York Liberty, undefeated, defending champions. But the Indiana Fever could have won that game. And it came down to the wire. And what happened? Once again, officials see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing. Caitlin Clark is grabbed by Natasha Cloud more than once. She was actually fouled 4 times, as I recall. Her arm was hit at the end. No whistle. Officials take off. It was, again, egregious. A game they could have won. Absolutely robbed of an opportunity to win that game. Infuriating. So after that game, we hear that Caitlin has suffered a quad strain, and she would be reevaluated in 2 weeks and would not play in the meantime. So she hasn't played. Now she's traveled with the team, and we saw her taking shots and different things like that, coaching and working the officials and all the things that one has to do when they cannot play. And of course, I'm sure giving very helpful feedback. Well, in the meantime, we've had Sophie Cunningham go down. You had at one point Sydney Colson having to leave a game. We've had Stephanie White missing a game. There's been a whole lot of adversity for this team. And there's been a lot of frustration for fans. And the viewership has tanked without Caitlin Clark on the floor. The franchise player, the WNBA's face of the league, whether they want to admit it or not. But when numbers slap you in the face, when interest goes out of the window, sometimes the message starts to become clear. At least you can hope. And don't forget after the first game, the investigation, which was resolved, interestingly, the day after it was announced that Caitlin would not be playing for a while. And after fans, some said they weren't going to watch during that time. And I did a video on this. All of a sudden, oh yeah, there's no problem. There's no problem here. At least we couldn't substantiate it. And then, of course, with the injuries, you had a hardship opportunity to bring in Aari McDonald, who most of us would have not thought about at all had this not happened. And she comes in and we get to see her absolutely ball out. Huge help to this team. And of course, now with people coming back from injury, she has to be released. I'll talk about that in a separate video. But originally, I had heard Sky Agnes say that if they cut someone else, that she could stay. And anyway, again, different video. But for this video, that's just talking about the timeline. New York, a game you could have won. Officials decided you weren't important enough for them to do the right thing. Announcement, Caitlin Clark is injured, and we'll find out later when she'll be able to play. Erin McDonald gets to come in. We get to see what she can do. And then now, today, the wonderful news. She's back. These are the bookends. Out after that New York game, back for the next New York game, and lots of things in between, including people coming to understand that Caitlin Clark is the needle. It's all very interesting. I'm going to leave it there. I will catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.
Welcome back, Caitlin Clark.